The happiest place on earth.
I am Carl. I'm an addict alcoholic, and my sobriety is August 22nd, 2014.
I am Sam Miller. I am an alcoholic and an addict, and my sober date is June 10th, 2008.
Yay! This is Soberpod.
Soberpod.com. Yeah. Soberpod, keep it authentic, no facades. If it's real, then you know it's ours. Welcome.
Soberpod is a podcast dedicated to the idea that one addict or alcoholic helping another is crucial to building a life in recovery. Join us this season as we read from our book, 366 Effing Days Sober. Sam has a copy in his hands. And also don't forget to pick up Lindsay, her book, which is Spirit Vigilante. And you can get both of those going to soberpod.com or the Spirit Vigilante. And as you heard, there is a wonderful, talented comedian. Is that what you call yourself?
Yeah, man, I'm a comedian.
Yeah, I'm a comedian. It's funny. So Sam Miller. Sam Miller is here with us. Give us some right up at the top. What are your URLs? Your connections? Where can we find you?
Yeah, SamMillerComedy.com. Sam Miller Comedy on Facebook. Sam Miller Comedian on Instagram. Sam Miller Comedian on TikTok. Yeah, that's it, man.
And so we're not just talking to Sam Miller because he's a comedian, because that's what other people would do. I am really more interested in, of course, what Sam Miller is as a person, right?
Yeah.
You know, your life, you have a sobriety date, obviously.
Yeah. The comedy all folds into that. But I lived quite a life before comedy, that's for sure. So if you can call it a life.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially towards the end there. 2007, rough.
In some of your stand-ups, you start off like right away talking about, which I think is kind of cool, right?
Yeah,
it's like, it's shocking for the regular people, but for us in recovery, it's kind of like, this is just normal shit.
Dude, you know what's funny is that sometimes I try to imagine like a normal person listening to my stand-up and what they might think, but I'm as good at listening to normal people. Like, I don't know what normal people think about anything, you know? I don't know. I don't understand how people drink normally. And I don't know. Normal people like my stand-up too. They like it, you know. I don't feel like I pull any punches, but I feel like I'm cognizant that not everybody has the same experiences with substances that I had.
Yeah, know? But it's not every day. Like, you get to watch that stuff on your average TV.
No,
right?
One of the first jokes that went viral was this one where I was like, I had a terrible drinking problem, and I was like, one time I got so drunk I did meth for 8 years. Which I don't know. That's funny. It's funny. It's especially funny to people that know what I'm talking about. Like, a party's a party, right?
No, and you have a clever way to say it, which is like, because the fact is I think people that are quote unquote normal, which is what we determine normal. Yeah. I think that they understand that when you say it that way, right? So I don't think that I don't think it eludes the average person that, what you're saying.
One thing I like in recovery too, and a lot of my friends in recovery, they share with me, is that I don't go around all the time just like, oh man, I can't believe I did drugs. They were so evil in my life, and it was evil. It was all bad. It's like, no, man. Like, I got high for a long time, and I had some good times, man. And then, but eventually it's like I was trapped in a septic tank, and it was kind of cool at first. I don't know why it would be.
Hey, the septic tank's kind of cool.
Yeah, we had a good system in there or something. I don't know. But as it does, man. If you're an addict or an alcoholic, at least the way that I'm built, eventually that comes back like a boomerang, man. So, cuts me to shreds.
Talk to me about your first time using or drinking. How'd that go?
The first time, so alcohol was just a thing in my house. There's actually a picture of my brother pouring a Budweiser long neck down my gullet when I was like 5 or 6, and it's not so much that I was drinking at 5 or 6, it was that somebody thought it would be funny to take a picture of it.
Sure.
Look at this toddler drinking.
The toddler drinking picture is always kind of part of family culture, right?
Yeah.
It's like, if you have one of those, you're in that kind of family where that can easily turn into.
It's wild, man. But there's that, and like, I don't know. I remember huffing gas like at a very, very young age, sort of. And I remember, I think I was probably, God, must have been 7 or 8 years old, something like that. And I got into that. And then I did it one time, and I have never had a headache that bad in my life.
From huffing gas?
From huffing gas. Yeah. It was like something like, I thought I had like an aneurysm or something. I thought my head was going to explode.
I had a friend who's huffing gas a lot. Actually, when I met in treatment when I was 15.
Yeah.
And he fell asleep on a 3-wheeler doing on the tank.
Man.
And he said that a little green guy in the tank tapped him on the nose and said, "You're gonna die if you don't get up." And then that's how he woke up off the tank.
That's awesome,
dude.
man.
I do not recommend huffing gas.
You know, I used to have some jokes, and I would say huffing glue, but because I didn't want to tell people I huffed gas. And that's when you know, when you know you were a real turd, is when like the lie is glue. Like
you gotta replace the drug with another drug just to fit in. Yeah.
Like I'm gonna say glue so they don't think I'm a piece of shit. But yeah, and then man, like just weed, man. Weed.
Where'd you grow up?
Olympia, Washington.
Okay.
I was in Spanaway. My dad died when I was 12, and he was lieutenant colonel in the Air Force. And like, I would have wound up getting high even if he was around.
Yeah.
And he drank a lot, and he had his deal, man. And he was kind of a maniac, but I loved him. But he was a maniac, man. A lot of bad stuff happened with him. And you know, sometimes I tell people stories about my dad, and sometimes I'll think that they're cute, or I'll know they're kind of bad. But it's the same way when you're talking about normies with my jokes. Like if I tell normies stories about my dad, they're just like, oh God, you know. So I don't want to go into that stuff right now. But he died, and then everything just really went haywire. And then that question you asked about the first time I really got high, I think it was smoking weed. I was like 12 or 13, and I got really stoned, and I was like, oh, like this is what I need to be doing.
This is what I should be doing.
This is what I was doing.
Yeah.
And man, when I say that, like I got high and I felt that feeling, and not only did I think that this is what I'd be doing the rest of my life, I figured everybody happy I'd ever seen in my life, and I couldn't figure out why people were happy because I never felt good. I never felt good. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, like everybody who's happy is high. And now I'm
Clearly,
high too.
That's
so
the
now
solution.
I can be happy too. And I'll be like people on TV, or like,
because they're all high.
They're all high. Or maybe they're just like that. But now I can be like that.
Well, yeah, exactly. You found the key.
Yeah. And and then man, it was just like, I decided, I was like, so I guess my life is pretty much just about like avoiding pain and getting high. Like I was like, I'm going to get as high as I can, as much as I can, and try to get in the least amount of trouble while doing it.
Yeah.
And
that never worked for me. I always got
no,
that last part
man.
was always the hardest for me.
Yeah.
I could always get high, right?
Yeah.
But it's the get in trouble part that really didn't.
Yeah. And that's the thing, man. I started getting locked up. Like I remember I got caught with weed, and they did this program, like this diversion thing.
How old were you when you got caught?
Oh, geez. I think it was 15.
Yeah.
And
perfect age to get caught and in the diversion program.
Yeah. I was in diversion. And then like.
Were you rebellious, or were you like, did you go along with it?
No, I did it, but it was so stupid because like we had to go door to door and collect cans of food for the food bank.
That was part of the diversion program?
I was like going around my neighborhood.
Begging for food.
And I was like, we'll get some food. Like, I was like, do you have any cans of food you don't want for the food bank? Because I got high or whatever. I didn't tell that to
Yeah.
You didn't have to say why you were doing it.
They give you like a little script to read or something, and you went around.
I don't know if they even had a script. I just remember that my mom would stay on the road in her car and like watch me.
Oh, she had to be a part of this.
Do it. I don't think she had to, but I think she knew if she didn't that I wouldn't.
He'll never serve his hours.
I'll never do nothing, because that was the thing. It was like instead of volunteer hours, you could get like so many cans of food.
Dude, that's so weird.
It was
that's so weird.
Stupid. It's so these people they pass these laws and they're like, this will be good because people will get food and like the people that are smoking weed, they won't like these kids, man, on the weed will help them, and they'll like care about other people. And it's like, shut up.
Yeah, it's such a,
what are you doing?
These kids are just going to be miserable.
Yeah.
Walking
It's
around
like,
the city.
like,
All I'd be doing is scoping other people's houses. That's what
yeah,
I'd be doing.
exactly. I was like, this is stupid. I'm like, my neighbors are weird.
So you basically you get in some trouble, or did you ever do like what kind of when you were younger? Did you like graduate school? Did you do all that stuff?
No, man, that was done. That was done. In fact, there was actually this moment that was like really. I actually have talked about it before, and I think it's important to talk about this. But like, I remember getting busted for weed in high school. And, and it's like, oh my God, dude. And the cop like came into the classroom and like arrested me in class.
Front of all the students?
Yeah, because they were like trying to send a message to the other students.
Oh, sure.
And it was just
Don't
like,
be like
dude,
Sam.
This
Don't
is
be like
so, because you know what's the funniest thing, dude, is I'm such an attention whore. I was just like, oh, I ain't saying shit. Like, you guys, you think I was acting like a badass, like I killed somebody or something. And really what it was.
Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, like Pablo Escobar of Lacey, Washington. And what's funny is what I was doing was I got caught because I sold my Ritalin to some other kid to get weed, and he got caught snorting the Ritalin in ISS, and my dumbass sold him the Ritalin in the bottle with my name on it.
Oh yeah, here you go. Address and everything. You know exactly.
Like, this is why you don't even need a baggie or nothing.
It's terrible.
Yeah, and then so he had my Ritalin, and then I wound up in the office. And I remember there was a cop, the vice principal, Mr. Lennis, Dave Lennis was his name. He was an assistant principal. And then my mom got there. And when my mom got there, man, I just started bawling, because I was like, my whole thing with my addiction, even all the way up to the end, was I didn't want to hurt my mom. She was the only person, when I say she was the only person that kept me alive, she was. Like, I used to think if anything happened to my mom, I would have killed myself in a second. I was over living, man. I was done. It's just my mom. That is it, But anyway, the thing that happened is I'm on that table. I'm alone. I'm scared. I'm like, my mom's there. I'm crying. And then my mom sat on the other side of the table. My mom didn't sit with me.
Oh,
she sat with the cop, because they wanted to be like a united front and show how serious this was. Yeah. But this is the thing about addiction and young people. And like, man, I was a hurt kid. And I don't know how addiction works with trauma, works with all this other stuff. But like, they were so focused. Like, I explain this, and I think you'll understand this. Like, this is the way I explain it, right? When I talk to normies about addiction, is that I wasn't running towards a high. I was running away from a feeling. Like, I hate being sober way more than I love being high.
100%. I didn't have a drinking or a using problem. I had a living sober problem.
Exactly.
That's exactly how it is.
And that's the thing, is that like, they were so focused on the getting high part and the smoking weed part that I don't think they really focus on like, why does he hate being sober so much? Because that's the issue. I don't know if there's anything they could have done about it anyway, because anything they're going to try to do, I'm going to buck. I'm always going to buck. I've been sober 16 years. I'm still bucking. That's why I got a job doing comedy. I don't want to listen to nobody, But yeah, man, they were on one side of the table. And when that happened, man, I was like, this is war.
It's
like,
me
at that
them.
point, point, it's like, okay, like, I guess I don't have to like pretend anymore. Like, I'm going to, and I remember, I think 3 years after that, I was, I'm homeless off and on. Like, I would run home every once in a while and get cleaned up. But yeah, man.
How old do you know? I didn't ask.
42.
42. Okay.
I think 41 or 42.
So how long were you? So when you were off to the races, basically, like when were you off to the races? When did it?
I mean, I probably had like, it's funny because I did spend some time as a counselor. I probably could have had a use disorder at 14 or 15. I probably had a use disorder. And then all the way to 25. So I only really used for 10 years,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, like,
And I only really went off like from like when I was like 12 years old when I went, and
yeah.
and then all the way to 20.
Yeah.
And then I had a good 5-year I was in program, quote unquote. I went to NA, I slept with all the girls that I could in my NA.
Yeah.
And then I got sober this last time at 42.
There you go.
So then again, that puts me. But I did 15 years of drinking. Everyday chronic drinking. So yeah, it was. But you know what? I stopped doing the meth because I was like, as long as I don't do the meth, I'm going to be okay.
See, once I started the crystal, right, for me was just like it was almost like the first time I got high. I was like, oh, like this is the ultimate goal now. And the other thing that happened is this, it's not just like, that's what people miss about this, is it like, it's not meth, it's the combination of alcohol and methamphetamines and how well they would work together. And then once I found myself living in dangerous situations, whether I was in an encampment, I lived in barns, I lived in abandoned houses, stuff like that. It's like, that like I can stay awake at night, multiple nights, and then I can sleep during the day. Like that drug fit my needs. And that's one of the reasons why I said, like, when I don't have a lot of regrets, even with methamphetamine, it's like, man, like, I don't know if I was, because I think I would have wound up, I mean, my mom would have kicked me out just for drinking too. It's just that, and a lot of people, I don't know how much they knew about the methamphetamine use. I think more people know than I want to admit.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Like I got caught when I was like even 14. I had to take piss tests. Yeah. And they, I had a bunch of baggies. I just had empty baggies because I was just trying to keep count of how much I actually used. And I like, I don't know, 14 baggies or something. And then I just lied and I said it was somebody else's. And my mom, like, just went along with it, right?
Were you in like
I'll just
SoCal
believe it.
down
I'll
here?
just believe it. What's that?
Were you in like SoCal down here?
Yeah. I was
doing
all
like
over
crystal out here,
dude. It's
it's such a wild scene down here, dude.
Yeah.
I know cats from like Fresno and like, what is it, Bakersfield?
Yep.
And dude, they just tell me these stories, man.
Dude, desert lands are just filled with.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Filled with
It's the same thing, Washington State. Like, I think I go to all, like, everyone's like, oh, we had more labs busted in Pierce County than anywhere else. And then I go someplace else and then tweakers there will be like, oh, no, we had the most labs busted. I'm like, bro, this ain't the Olympics.
Junkie pride.
Yeah, take it easy, dude. Everybody wants to be, I know everybody wants to be number one. But yeah, man, and that was the other thing. I know we talked on the phone a little bit, but like, in Washington State, they passed that law where you could only get 2 packs of ephedrine and you had to show your ID and all this stuff. And so like smurfing became a thing. Did you guys ever do that?
Yeah, no, I heard about it. I don't know.
Okay, so
to me,
yeah.
it was like always lower class.
So you would get, yeah. We would, thanks. I never thought I'd get high bottomed on the podcast. I got big timed. But yeah, that was a deal, man, is that we would go around, they'd give you a certain amount of money and you'd have like old school like MapQuest like printed out. And then either vans or, we usually somebody would take us in a van or something, usually some awful Astro van. And you had to be kind of slick about it because if you all went in on once, they'd call the Thurston County Narcotics Task Force or some shit, And yeah, man, buy 2 packs of Sudafed, man. And then, take them out to the dude and then that's it, man. We'd sit there and I was never involved and like, I don't know how. But I was around it, I always joke I was like a meth prep cook,
Yeah.
We were around it. And then I don't know, man, like I love that shit. And I was in Peoria, Illinois doing shows and somebody was hitting that bubble before I got into the bathroom.
You could smell it in there.
Oh, Jesus,
could I? All the time.
It was so crazy too, because like my friend Willie Griswold, who's Tom Griswold's son from Bob and Tom's show, right, in the Midwest, right? He doesn't know anything about this stuff. We're just at the zoo. We're doing shows in Peoria together. We're at the Peoria Zoo, which is it's a weird zoo. People were smoking meth in the bathroom. And man, I walked in and I got it, and I forgot because I hadn't gotten it in a while.
And it's here.
Yeah. Because when I hang out in downtown Olympia, I usually hang out in the morning at this coffee shop. Like that's my usual spot, and people ain't smoking meth at the fucking coffee spot, But I don't know, man. It caught me, dude. It caught me. And I was really like, not like a craving, not like, oh, I should get high. Yeah. It was just like, man.
Dude, smell is like the number one, like,
it is
memory trigger, and it'll just totally take you.
Weed doesn't get that. I think I'm so used to smelling weed.
Oh, dude.
Now I'm just like over it.
Since they legalized, it's just everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, my neighbors are all, I'm like, what the fuck? But I was never a weed dude anyway.
The thing about weed, the smell of weed that bugs me is I miss walking down the street and being like, ooh, onions. Wonder what they're making. And it's always just like, oh, weed again. Oh, weed again.
It's everywhere. So now that you're using, you're doing whatever, blah, blah, blah. It's getting old. You're homeless, etc.
Yeah.
Where do you find the peace? How do you get from here to there?
Bro. I worked for the Forest Service, right? So I went to Job Corps, and that shit probably saved my life. And by the way, that Job Corps center I was at was rougher than some of the places I was locked up at. It was crazy. Some of these Job Corps centers are wild because it's a bunch of people that aged out of foster care and folks like me that have maybe done a little bit of time and like kind of like trying to figure it out and like. Yeah. And they have like student leadership or whatever. It's crazy, bro. Some of these Job Corps are wild.
It's like militant shit or what?
Sort of, man. It's like some gang stuff and then like some other shit. It's kind of like
they strong arm you and shit. You're gonna fucking work, son.
No. It's like I don't know. Some of it is behavior modification, so it has like that military school vibe. Mm-hmm. But I did really well there because I'm huge and like I was older than a lot of the other students. Mm-hmm. And I'm actually pretty proud of how I handled myself there, and I couldn't get high while I was there, and my life got better. I wasn't working a program, and I mean, shit was haywire. And if I ever got out of there for a couple of days, which I did sometimes, it was crazy. But anyway, I got a job at the Forest Service, kept drinking, fighting fire, did that for 3 years, and then 1 year they were like, "We don't want you anymore," and because there wasn't a lot of fires, and my use was just, I got fired by my best friend, which is a very alcoholic addict thing to do. And then man, there was like this 8-month to 1 year period where I hit my bottom, and like it wasn't a thing where like it wasn't like one solid bottom. I mean, there was the last night, but it was just, man, it was like the last round of a boxing match you're losing. You know what I mean? Like that's what it was to me, man. Is I didn't have a bottom. I had like a last round where, I was living in a, not to be that guy who brags about their bottom or whatever, but I was living in like a puppy mill, and there was like Yorkshire Terriers, and then a bunch of them died, and then I would find them and And just like it kept being this thing where like I would see stuff and do stuff, and I would like look down at myself and I'd be like, this is something I cannot believe that I am doing or seeing.
And just by the way, in just a little time that I've known you, I get a vibe from you. You're a very sensitive person.
Yeah.
So I couldn't imagine being around. And I mean that in a positive way. I don't mean a sensitive, negative way.
I don't mind that at all, because that is true. Like that is true. That's probably one of the reasons I got as high as I did and took it as far as I did, because I wanted to hide from these things that might hurt me. And then I came back to Olympia. I told my mom I was going to get sober, and I felt like I was. But then, I started again, and then I couldn't go back home because I knew I was like, I couldn't go to my mom's house because she knew and I knew there was no going back. And then, I remember June 9th, I went out and I was going to smoke some weed. And then I wind up, I could never smoke weed, just smoke a little bit of weed. That shit ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm drunk, wound up getting high. And then woke up under a tarp in front of the Capitol Theater in downtown Olympia. And I have a whole routine I do. I do a bunch of jokes about it, because I woke up under this tarp. And I was me and this homeless lady, and I always say we were doing tarp stuff. By the way, the idea of tarp stuff happened because I was actually doing a corporate comedy show. And I used to have this joke about me. I don't know how flagrant this podcast is it crazy? Okay, So I used to tell this joke about how I was finger banging this homeless lady under a tarp and how it wasn't that bad because I was homeless too. Like this was a lateral move, you know? Yeah. But then it was funny because I did a corporate show where I had to be clean. I was supposed to be like PG-13 and finger banging a homeless lady under a tarp.
You're like
not
tarp
PG-13. That's actually a high R rating. And so like, yeah, I didn't know what to say. So I was like, we were to the tarp and we were doing like tarp stuff. And now whenever I talk about it, that's what I say. I was like, yeah, we were doing.
That's a good clean way to say it because we all know what tarp stuff is.
Some people do. Yeah, doing tarp stuff. And, but yeah, man, some lady walked by and like looked down at me and she was walking her dog and she gave me this look. And like right when she gave me this look, it was like pop, like it was just, that really was the bottom. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I remember thinking, I had this very clear thought in a way that I've never had this thought. And the thought was, I cannot be this guy anymore. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, I made a decision. And the decision I made was I was going to kill myself or I was going to get help.
Yeah.
And I walked to my mom's house, which was like, geez, like it was a long walk. Cried just buckets like the whole way, like just losing my shit, just terrified, knowing that like there was no going back. And then I think it was 3 or 4 days at my mom's house. Because I don't know, there's weird. I was doing benzos at the end. I don't even remember how I got back into benzos, but I was doing like a bunch of Librium and stuff. I think I had friends of mine that were working at a rehab and they were stealing Librium, which I think is badass. And Librium was like one of my favorites, man. I don't know.
I've never done any Librium. No.
Oh, okay. It's just a benzo. I think it's one of the better ones. Yeah. But that's neither here nor there on the Sober podcast.
So if you're interested. It's
yeah. This isn't a Librium, man. So like I had that weird withdrawal, and I had a benzo. I had a seizure coming off of benzos one time too, and like it was benzos and alcohol, and I had a seizure with sunflower seeds in my mouth, which was not cool. Yeah. I remember my mom was I was actually on my mom's couch and she was cooking dinner and I was blowing sunflower seeds out of my nose on her couch, just like. But yeah, dude. And then 3 days after that, man, I started on my recovery stuff. And then there's been like, honestly, man, I would, Did
you go to treatment or did you?
I just started going to meetings, man. Yeah. I went to one a day.
What was it? 12-step kind of stuff?
Yeah, 12-step stuff.
Smart or anything like that?
No. It was all 12-step stuff. And I immediately, this time when I went, I was very angry. But also I was like, I immediately had like a little bit of hope. I was like, okay, I know that dude. Like it was cats and I thought they were dead.
We were doing tarp stuff.
Yeah. I thought all these dudes that I saw, like I remember, I don't want to say his name, but I saw one of the homies and I was like, I thought you were locked up, dude. What are you doing? He's like, no, I've been sober like a year and a half. And I'm like, oh, I haven't seen you. And he's like, yeah, I don't hang out under tarps.
I'm not doing tarp shit anymore.
Yeah, I'm not at the puppy mill, Sam. And yeah, man, I would, dude, honestly, 2 or 3 a day for like, for like a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then
were you working
at least one a day. I was eventually, but pretty much if I wasn't working, I was working on my recovery. Mm-hmm. And that was like, that's been it. That was it I remember, it must have been, I did a meeting a day unless I was real sick. God, I think I went to one every day for 3 or 4 years.
Wow.
Because I just didn't have anything else. Like, I get it that it's different for different folks, but like, I feel really strong about this. Like there wasn't really like a life to get back because I never feel like I had like a life, I didn't have.
I know that feeling, even though I had everything. Right?
Yeah.
I had a house, I had cars, I had jobs, all that stuff. But to me, it wasn't living. It wasn't.
Yeah, but there was a moment, man. I had 3 jobs, but it was all like, I was a dishwasher, I was a bouncer, wound up working at a preschool, and just trying my best, man. And then,
did you get a sponsor?
Oh yeah, yep, same guy.
Oh, you say that like he was an asshole.
No. He's awesome. Yeah, same guy for the whole time, 16 years. Yeah.
Oh, you still had him?
Yeah. Yeah, we hung out right before we left.
Oh.
Yeah, he's from Pittsburgh. It was fun. We were hanging out right before I left. He's doing really good, man. Watched his kids grow up. His kids are in like college now and shit. He was going through some hard stuff when I got sober. I could give a shit. You know,
of course.
I'm like, yeah, cool, dude.
Tell me more about me.
Yeah. Marriages are hard. I get it.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah, exactly. No, I get that.
My house is on fire.
Yeah,
okay. But yeah, man. And then you just, met a girl. I was 4 months sober, met a girl.
In the rooms or no?
No, she's a normie. And she was just in this hotel room. And started dating before I should, moved in before I should. She got pregnant before she should have. Had a kid before I should have. Man, just hanging on there. Probably worked at the wrong job for too long. Bouncing at the bar. This is a story I don't tell a lot. There was a guy who said he was going to stab me at the bar I was working at. I was bouncing at this dive bar.
Did you stab him first?
No.
Damn it.
No. But I shoved him hard enough that he hit his head and he was in a coma.
Oh.
I almost killed this guy.
Wow.
And, if
in
you go to bars, that's in sobriety.
That's in sobriety, yeah.
And if you go to bars and you tell bouncers you're going to stab them, and they shove you and your head gets rocked on the concrete, like, that sucks, but like that happens. Yeah. And I did the best I could in that moment, but I felt terrible about it. I'm a human being, I don't want to hurt nobody like that.
I bet you would.
And,
I mean, I think, it's really, we have to experience life a lot. And then when we haven't experienced life up to those points, experiencing those things makes it even more difficult in recovery.
And there was some other guy who tried to punch me and I was like choking him, and then the cop showed up and I got arrested for choking this guy.
In sobriety.
But I wasn't
you should have been out of that job a long time.
I know, but that's the thing. It was crazy. Like, it got dismissed or whatever because they were like, I was like, I wasn't trying to hurt the guy. I just I wanted him to stop trying to punch me.
Yeah.
And anyway, and I got a job, and then I tried to be a treatment counselor. I failed miserably at that.
You know how many people try that?
I know. I was like, because it was this thing, because I was like, I almost killed a guy as a bouncer. I should try to help people because I don't want to kill anybody.
So how many people did you strangle as a counselor?
How many did I want? Dude?
I ended up strangling more.
Dude, I don't know, man. And then, man, I eventually wound up working in high schools with like homeless youth and at a shelter in Hilltop in Tacoma. And I liked that. I liked that. I was good at that job. I went back to school at Evergreen, too, for about a year in there. And also at that point was when I discovered stand-up comedy.
How far were you into recovery at that point?
I was 6 years sober when I started doing stand-up. So I got sober in 2008. I started doing comedy in 2014. June 10th is my sobriety date. And I think June 14th this June 14th coming up will be my 11-year anniversary.
Of doing stand-up?
That's comedy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
That's
and
crazy.
July will be my 4th year of doing it as my full-time job.
So it's your full-time job?
Yeah,
you don't do anything right now other than this? That's great. That's wonderful.
For a while too, dude. It's crazy.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I wouldn't be able to do it. My mom helps with childcare and stuff, and like that would have been a pretty big hang-up, pretty big hurdle to get over because my wife works full-time. But I make the same amount of money I was working at the shelter. And what a ride, dude. It's I will tell you this too, as far as recovery goes, if anybody is listening to this and they're thinking about starting stand-up and you're in recovery.
Dude, I'm totally thinking about it, so just stop it.
Oh, God, dude. You just got to make sure that you that recovery has got to be number one. So like I go recovery, family, community, comedy. And it's complicated now because I support my family with comedy, and having a healthy family and healthy relationship with my family supports my recovery. But I just know that without my recovery, like it all falls apart, and that's not just like the happy, fun recovery, it's like I try to practice that like radical accountability, to really, really look at not just because I can do the right thing for the wrong reasons, you know, like I had that, especially in stand up, because like being on stage the way I am now in front of some of the crowds I am now, and the social media blows up my ego. And if I don't check that shit, I'm done, dude.
Yeah.
I'm done. Have you had to deal with any of that with the podcast and stuff like that?
I'm not. I stay away from the stats as much as possible.
That's good, man.
I do look at them, don't get me wrong, but I try not to, like, you know, you like you said, doing the right thing for the wrong reasons, right?
Yeah, man.
You know, it's like I totally understand that, you know, this is not about, if it was about me, I would be fucking doing it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Because there was no, I don't know, because the first time I did stand up, the same thing clicked like it did with the weed and with the meth. The same thing went. You know, in fact, you'll love this shit. The first time I walked off the stage after my first open mic, I did all right, you know, and I walk off stage and I was like, I'm going to lose my marriage over this. That's the first thought I had. But I didn't. But you know what I did lose, man? I lost some really good friends of mine in recovery.
Because of comedy?
Because I was chasing this. I was chasing this. And my deal was I wanted to keep my family. And I was like, okay, I have to go this hard at comedy. I have to go this hard at family. And what it would be is it would be like a Friday night and I don't have a show booked, but I'm like, oh, I can go do an open mic in Portland. I live in Olympia. Portland's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
2 hours, you know. And I'd be like, all right, I'm going to go do this open mic.
4 hour total drive.
Oh, at least. And then I'm goofing off.
You're there for 2-3 hours.
Yep. And then I come back. So that's basically like a whole night shot. And then I feel like, and then my wife's at home with the baby because my kids, they're 11 and 14
money. You didn't
now.
make any money.
I know. And I didn't make any money.
Yeah.
And so what I would do then is I'd be like, all right, I'm going to give you a break tomorrow. And then I'd wake up at like 7 a.m. when the kids get up and I'd be like, all right, we're going on an adventure. And I'd get the kids in the car and we'd go goof off. And you know what's crazy is I wound up having a great relationship with my kids, but then there'd be times where it's like, one of my good friends, we had the same sponsor and, he moved down here to LA and he was back visiting Olympia and we were supposed to hang out. And we made plans, and I forgot, and I went and did an open mic. Yeah. And then when he called me, I lied to him, and I said something like, I was like, oh, I forgot that we had talking about that, and and that honestly, that ended that relationship. Like he wasn't gonna do that anymore, and that hurt, man.
And I think the lesson there is like, you know, same thing. And my sponsor, I had a sponsor who died, and he always said to me, like, everything in moderation. Like, especially with me too, because I like to take things and just like you're talking about, like I want to go all in.
Oh, dude.
You know, anytime I touch something, I need to go all in, and I need to win it all. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
And my current sponsor is basically just trying to tell me to, like, dude, just fucking have fun.
Yeah.
Don't do anything but just enjoy the moment, please. You know, he's begging me basically.
This life that I'm living now. So I'm able to tour almost wherever I want in the country now. Some places I do better than others, and I don't always make money. But overall now, it's actually been only in the last like 5 or 6 months have I started to like relax. Up until then, it's just been like either it's floored or I'm slamming on the brakes. One of the two. Like I'm not like cruising.
Feast or famine, dogged persistence, and then lazy dog all day.
Yeah. Well, no, I would hit the brakes sometimes because I gotta look around and see what else is going on in my life. I'm just like, and then also the heartbreak that's inherent in the entertainment industry.
Yeah.
And getting used to like rejection, you know, people saying that, oh, like I don't, and I've gotten I've gotten used to it. And also I've built up enough connections. And that's a thing that recovery has given me too, is my ability to make connections with people, and not just fans. That's with like club owners and stuff like that.
Real connections too. And you're aware and you remember.
Oh yeah. And they also know that I'm going to stand by my word, that I'm going to do my best, that I'm always doing my best. And it's been cool. Up to, as we're recording this, which we haven't even said, we're at the Pixar Hotel at Disneyland.
Right.
We didn't even say it.
We're at the Disneyland Hotel in Anaheim, California. You are going tomorrow. You have a gig in LA.
I do. Yeah, I'm in LA tomorrow. Yeah, it's going to be great.
Yeah, so if you're listening, you'll be hearing this on the 14th on Soberpod. So basically, his show will already be over. You can attend it. But hey, so what are you doing after the 14th? You doing anything coming up?
Geez, I got a huge tour in after the 14th. Yeah, I think I head to Chicago on the 17th. So I'll do Janesville on the 7th, April 7th. Maybe it's Janesville on the 16th, Chicago on the 17th, Cincinnati on the 18th, and then the 19th, I wound up in Bristol, Tennessee.
So how would they find you if they want to go to these places?
If you go to sammuellercomedy.com, it has a tickets thing there, and it has
I do have some
stuff.
You said you really need to get your recovery number one, right? You really need to get like your shit in order to like go out there and do this stuff. What is it about that? What is it that when you go out and you're going to Chicago, you're going to Cincinnati, doing all this stuff? What do you carry with you at times when because honestly, like when you were saying like you walk into the bathroom and somebody's been smoking meth, it's like, man, that shit hits.
I go to meetings on the road.
Oh, you do?
I love that. I'll hit up, man, that app on my phone, that Chair app or whatever it's called, is sick. It really does work, and it even looks at your GPS. And then I also call people and I talk to people, whether it's my sponsor or anybody. I do all kinds of stuff, and it's weird too, because like working out is like a big part of my recovery, and also just having like this mindset. So like when I don't wake up at like 11 and then hustle to the next show on the interstates. Like I wake up at 6, man. I try to eat like a healthy breakfast, and then when you put in the navigate, so let's say like Janesville to Chicago, right? That's only about an hour and a half drive on the interstate. But that's the thing, is that what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna eat my little healthy breakfast or whatever, and I'm gonna put avoid highways, and I'm gonna turn it into a 2.5 hour drive. I do that consistently. If I have a show at a place that's 3 or 4 hours away, I'll turn that into a 5 or 6 hour drive, and I leave really early. I knock out a couple hours, and then I take my time, and I'll eat food, and I'll talk to people that I meet out there. Yeah. And
I love people.
Try to see, try to see beautiful.
Like that, yeah.
I love, oh man, and like you wind up running into the weirdest stuff, man. And I don't know, like to really to try to like slow down, and also to enjoy like that. This is like such a gift to be able to have a career like this. I never thought in a million years that I would have a job that I love. Like, to me, work was something to be suffered through to get money to do the thing that you like, which was usually drugs. Not that I was working a lot, but like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then now to have it switch to where like this vacation is hard for me, because I just want to go, man. I like my life, man.
Yeah.
I sit in front of my coffee shop in beautiful downtown Olympia, and I talk to my friends, and I go out on the road and I do comedy, and it's a good life, man.
And it's great. And if people are listening, you can go to Sam Miller Comedy on YouTube as well and check out like all your stuff.
Yeah, I got some stuff. I'm not as big on YouTube as I am with the Facebook and the Instagram, but I know that people are staying away from that stuff, and I get it. I should do a better job at my mailing list, but I am really focused on like Instagram and Facebook right now, which is also something that I have to watch too, for sure. I have a social media addiction that I'm flirting with all the time, but luckily,
I'm always trying to escape. online shit.
Oh yeah, dude, it's freaking sucks. I think the worst thing for alcoholics outside of alcohol is
The phone.
Facebook. yeah.
Yeah.
Or phone. Yeah. But,
So within so you'll be doing all the touring and all the other good stuff. And it sounds like you really kind of came into your own, right? It really sounds like you've been able to take something that you really enjoy and then turn that into a lifestyle, and not only a lifestyle but to feed, family and do all that good stuff.
The coolest thing, man, like people especially being on a recovery podcast, is that you would not believe like the messages I get. Because a lot of my jokes are about drugs and alcohol, and but most of them, that I'm telling them in the past tense. Mm-hmm. Like it's very clear to people that I am in recovery, and I've never thought about doing comedy any different way. The best advice I ever heard about comedy was to talk about what makes you laugh and then invite other people along. Yeah. And that's what it feels like, that's what I'm doing, is that I'm just inviting other people along. Yeah. And I get these messages constantly. And they're the sweetest thing in the world, and I respond to every single one of them. I don't respond to the weird ones. Usually a bunch of dudes that want to have sex with me. I'm good on that, man. By the way, if you're a dude out there, like one of the bear admirers, I love that you're part of my fan base, and I really appreciate your support. And thank you for sending me like nice messages. But like, I'm never going to sleep with any dudes. Yeah, I'm a married dude. I'm not one of those.
I don't think I've gotten those messages yet.
Oh my God, dude. I got this joke about. I got one of my jokes that went viral was like this joke where I was like, I'm not gay, but I checked. And I was like, I had a bit of a roof fetish. But anyway, like these messages I get are so sweet, and it's just people that are like, hey, your comedy helps. Like it helps me to see somebody who just, I think sometimes too, like we were talking about earlier, like I think not giving a shit really helps. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like it's pretty awesome. So
clear. All right, brother. Well, I think we're nearing the end.
Yeah.
Is there anything you would? First of all, thank you for.
Oh, dude!
Doing
thanks
this.
for coming and meeting me here in the hotel room at the Pixar Hotel.
Like I said, the last time I was at Disneyland Hotel, I was high as shit. Going to a girl's Christmas ball and getting my pictures taken.
Yeah, and you thought the photographer was a narc.
Yeah, he was gonna tell the police exactly what I had on me, so I had to do it all before I got to him.
I've been there.
Yeah, so everything comes in full circle, right?
Yeah.
So I guess thank you for coming. But what would you tell the newcomer or the dude who's got like 3-6 months, or even the dude who's got a year, who hasn't really even who feels like like you? I think it's really neat because you were like, dude, you went to a meeting every day for like a year. It felt like 3 years before your life kind of started to kick back in, right?
There's this. I think it's this counseling thing. I think it was called like Johari's window or whatever. I can't remember, but like in our life we have like we have known knowns. There's things we know. Unknown knowns. There's things we know that we don't know, or known unknowns. And then we have like unknown unknowns, and it's like things we don't know. And that's kind of where I'm living right now. Is some of those unknown unknowns became known unknowns and became like known knowns.
You just blew like 20, 30 people's minds. They just pulled over right now.
Well, what you can do, like that's the thing is like you can turn, like when I was a counselor, right? What you think about is like somebody knows they don't know something, and you can try to ask questions that will lead them to knowing that, and then it becomes like a known. Like I know one of the issues, I'm in therapy, and one of the issues I found out is that the reason why I'm so motivated and go so hard at my job is because I'm trying to impress my dad, which is hard to do because he's dead. I'm trying to impress a ghost. Mm-hmm. That went from an unknown to a known, to like it was like a thing where I was like, I never thought about how hard I work at comedy. To like a thing I was like, why am I working so hard at comedy? So it was like a known unknown.
Wasn't the money.
Yeah, it wasn't the money. And then it became like a known. It's like, oh, like my dad had this crazy work ethic, and I know that he'd be impressed by this, but I can't impress him. And once you know that, it opens up all kinds of possibilities, you know? And that's the thing is, so like, if you're listening to this and you're like, I don't know how, like, just do today and try to do healthy stuff that makes you uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like go work out, like get a therapist, go to that meeting across town that you went to that one time that you hated because that one person was there and you thought they owed you $20 from back in the day.
Do the work.
Read the book. Do the work. Don't get bogged down on your 4 steps. Like, don't sit on that, man. Like, I don't know. And just like, sometimes it's uncomfortable to love yourself, man. Yeah. Like, just be like, man, there's parts of me that like, man, I hated who I was for a long time and I'm just not on that anymore. Like, I'm okay with me, man. You know?
Yeah, it took me a while to kind of pull my head on my ass. Like 5 years, it's when my head popped out.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a nice sound.
Yeah. I bet it was loud.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, Sam Miller, where can we find you again?
SamMillerComedy.com. Yeah, it'll be good. Also, I love big women.
That should be your tagline right there.
Yeah. That's what people always complain. They're like, how come all your jokes are about drugs and jail? And I was like, what about all the ones about how much I love big women?
Don't leave those out.
Yeah, don't leave
all right,
those
people.
out.
So thank you again for coming on. And again, thank you for having me. And then I'm just going to say to the party people, stay active, stay sober.
Soberpod.com. 366 fucking days sober. Yeah. It was a sight to see him. Breakfast with Sprite and Seagrams. Wrestling with my vices, exercising my demons. My blessings were blocked, so I never got the message. I'm stressing. I'm only 12 steps from an exit. Regret it, because my imperfections were perfected. I ain't run from it, I accept it and rep it. It's a badge to me. Good stories come from a tragedy. And when you survive, the glory will come in Act 3. The wait's over. 366 fucking days sober. Morning affirmations that can start the day for you. Use my favorite bookmark for a placeholder. Finish when the day's over. Okay. Yeah, Soberpod, keep it authentic, no facades. If it's real, then you know it's ours. Welcome.